Today, I'm going to add one amazing superstar using every jersey number. The goal is to construct a roster to compete for a Super Bowl in just one season, but we have to fill out the entire roster by using one player from every NFL team. This means we cannot add more than one player from the same NFL team to our roster, which will make this even more challenging. I put every single jersey number onto this wheel, including the number 0, and after spinning the wheel, it looks like it's going to be landing on the number 97. The number 97 is usually worn by defensive linemen, which includes players like Joey Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, Cameron Hayward, and even Dexter Lawrence. All 4 of these players are top players on their respective teams. However, I'm bringing in Nick Bosa from the San Francisco 49ers, as well as the best edge rushers in the entire NFL. And now that we added our first player to the roster, we can no longer add another player from the 49ers roster, and the number 97 is removed from the wheel. As we spin the wheel once again, it looks like it's going to be landing on jersey number 35. And I can't really think of anyone who wears that jersey number off the top of my head, but according to this article, Jamel Dean tops the list. The only other solid player I found was Gus Edwards from the Ravens, but I elected to bring in Jamel Dean as our first cornerback on the roster. There will be plenty of tough decisions I have to make throughout this video, so if you think I made a mistake with any of my choices, let me know in the comments who you think I should have added instead. Moving on to our third wheel spin, it looks like it's going to be landing on the number 59. We can bring in Akeem Davis-Gaither, Devondre Campbell, or Trey Turner. But this was a pretty easy choice. We're bringing in Devondre Campbell as our starting middle linebacker. If we are unable to fill a certain position on the team, we will have to sign a 70 or below rated free agent to fill that spot, which will ultimately hurt our goal of winning a Super Bowl. Moving right into the next wheel spin, I really hope we could add an offensive player, and it looks like the number is going to be 8. Plenty of amazing choices for this jersey number, including Josh Jacobs, Kyle Pitts, Aaron Rodgers, but none are better than 2023 MVP winner Lamar Jackson. And just like that, we have our QB to lead this team to a Super Bowl, and we knocked off the Ravens in the process. The next wheel spin ended up landing on the number 73. I elected to bring in Dion Dawkins to be our starting left tackle. Spinning the wheel once again, and this time it lands on the number 52. I narrowed my choices down to either Creed Humphrey or Khalil Mack. Both solid choices, but let's beef up the offensive line for Lamar Jackson and add Creed Humphrey to the team, knocking off the Chiefs from the list. And keeping this going, the next wheel spin ended up landing on the number 33. And as much as I want to bring in Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers, we already used Devondre Campbell, so I decided to go with Jamal Adams from the Seattle Seahawks, who will be our starting strong safety. Spinning the wheel twice, and the 2 jersey numbers we can pick are the number 0 and the number 29. NFL just started letting players wear the number 0, and some options are Calvin Ridley, Greg Newsome, DeAndre Swift, and Brian Burns. Even though we don't have a receiver or running back on the team just yet, I still want to bring in Brian Burns as a right outside linebacker. As for the number 29, Talanoa Hufanga would have been my top choice, but we already used the 49ers, so I elected to bring in Xavier McKinney from the New York Giants to be our starting free safety. With 9 NFL teams already knocked off, our offense is looking really solid so far, but we are still missing receivers to help Lamar. But the defense has some really good pieces to help us win plenty of games. And after spinning the wheel once again, this time, it looks like it's going to be the number 91. Couple options here, but none better than 89 overall Trey Hendrickson, who will beef up our defensive line. Continuing on, we now have to pick a player who wears a jersey number 7. Couple solid choices in Trayvon Diggs, Hassan Reddick, or Bijan Robinson. As much as we need a running back, I'm going to hold off and add Trayvon Diggs to the secondary, knocking off the Cowboys from the list. Moving this along, the next 2 wheel spins land on the number 80 and 30. And after looking through potential players to add, the best tight end who wears the number 80 in the NFL right now is Greg Dulcich, who will be the tight end number 1. And as for the number 30, our options were either Austin Eckler or Jaylen Warren. But since Eckler has better ratings, he'll be joining the team as our running back. After adding 2 positions on offense, this wheel keeps spinning, and this time it lands on the number 49. I really have no idea who wears the number 49, but after a quick Google search, it looks like Tremaine Edmonds of the Chicago Bears is the best player who wears the number 49. And he will be joining Devondre Campbell at middle linebacker. And right into the next wheel spin, it lands on the number 63. But this was a no-brainer, bringing in Chris Lindstrom from the Atlanta Falcons, who will be our right guard. Spinning the wheel once again, it looks like it's going to be landing on the number 10, and this is so good for us. We have plenty of good receiver options like DeAndre Hopkins, Cooper Kupp, and the speedster himself, Tyreek Hill. And you know I'm not passing up on that elite speed. Tyreek Hill, you're joining the team. And just like that, we have knocked off half the NFL teams, and I'm really liking how our roster is looking so far. An elite offense with Lamar Jackson and Tyreek Hill leading the way, with a defense that has plenty of superstars already. We still have some work to do, but the next wheel spin lands on the number 78. So let's go ahead and bring in Jack Conklin to play alongside Chris Lindstrom. Moving on to a couple more wheel spins. It lands on the number 88 and then 14 right after. And I'm really sad that we can't bring in one of my favorite players, CeeDee Lamb, to our team since we already use the Cowboys. But I found Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles will be our tight end. And for the number 14, this was a no-brainer, bringing in Amon-Ra St. Brown to play alongside Tyreek Hill. And just like that, we knocked off the Eagles and Lions with those two spins. The team is really starting to come together, and the next wheel spin lands on the number 68. Why do we keep getting offensive lineman numbers? The only player I could find wearing the number 68 from the remaining teams was Brandon Scherff, and he'll be our left guard. And the next wheel spin lands on the number 93. Finally. There was a few options for this jersey number, but none better than Jonathan Allen from the Washington Commanders, and he'll be our starting defensive tackle. And by adding him to our team, we just knocked off the Washington Commanders from our list. The next couple wheel spins lands on the number 99 and the number 22. Very easy choice for the number 99, bringing in one of the best defensive players of our generation, Aaron Donald. But for the number 22, it was a little bit of a tougher choice. The best player in the NFL right now who wears number 22 is Derrick Henry, but Trent McDuffie is not far behind. However, we can't use Trent McDuffie since we already used Creed Humphrey and the Chiefs. So let's go ahead and add Derrick Henry to be running back number 1, moving Austin Eckler to running back number 2. Still missing a few positions on both offense and defense, so let's spin this wheel to see which number we have to use next. And it looks like it's going to be the number 31. And after scrolling through the remaining teams' rosters, I came across Jonathan Jones of the Patriots and Dameon Pierce of the Texans. But ultimately, I went with Jones, who will be our cornerback number 3 on the team. Speeding this up a bit, the next two wheel spins lands on the number 5, followed by the number 1. Not too many options for players who wear the number 5 with the remaining teams, but I did find Matt Prater from the Arizona Cardinals, who will be our starting kicker. And as for number 1, it was either between Sauce Gardner or Josh Downs. And as much as we need a third receiver, I can't be passing up on Sauce Gardner, who will be our cornerback number 1, knocking off the Cardinals and Jets with those two wheel spins. This is where it starts to get really difficult. Spinning the wheel, and it looks like we have to use a player who wears number 56. Only one solid option, and that's Alex Highsmith of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he will be our starting left outside linebacker. The next two wheel spins land on the number 13 and the number 24, bringing in Michael Thomas as our third receiver from the Saints, and then Derek Stingley from the Texans for the jersey number 24. Just missing a couple more players, and the next wheel spin lands on the number 94. Super limited with options, but I was able to find Dean Lowry, who plays for the Vikings, and he'll be our backup left end. And after spinning the last two wheels, they land on jersey number 11 and 25, bringing in Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts to join the wide receiver room. And as for number 25, Trayvon Morin will back up Xavier McKinney at free safety. And just like that, we use one jersey number from every NFL team, and our offense is looking amazing with Lamar Jackson leading the way and Nick Bosa leading the defense. The opening game of the season started off really good for the team of jersey numbers as Derrick Henry explodes up the middle for a huge gain. And on the very next play, Lamar hands it off to Austin Eckler, who then punches in for a touchdown. They continued that dominance in the second quarter with Derrick Henry bulldozing his way into the end zone for yet another touchdown. The rest of the game was much more of the same, and the team of jersey numbers ended up being the Dolphins 35-7. And after simming the rest of the season, the team of jersey numbers ended up finishing with a 16-1 record. Their only loss came at the hands of the Raiders in week 4. But luckily enough, they still have a first-round bye heading into the playoffs. Lamar finished 4th in the NFL with 4,300 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions, while Derrick Henry rushed for 1,600 yards and had 17 touchdowns. We now take on the 11-6 Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes. And they were able to strike first, with Mahomes finding his favorite target in Travis Kelce to take the early lead. But the team of jersey numbers answered right back with this touchdown run by Lamar Jackson. He really leaned on the running game as Derrick Henry takes the pitch and easily scores a touchdown. Mahomes and the Chiefs worked their way down the field, but end up settling for 3 to cut the lead down to 7. After getting a stop, the Chiefs got the ball back, and Pacheco got them into striking distance. On the very next play, Mahomes does a 360 and throws it to Pacheco, who scores a touchdown. With just 2 minutes left, the team of jersey numbers are moving their way down the field. They end up milking the clock all the way down to 1 second, and they end up kicking a field goal to move on to the AFC Championship game. Next up is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. The first score didn't come until late in the first quarter, with Lamar Jackson connecting with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who flies off a tackle and makes his way into the end zone to take the early lead. That lead didn't last long as Josh Allen hits Dalton Kincaid for a 2-yard touchdown. After going back and forth, the game is all tied up heading into the fourth quarter. With very little time left, Lamar is desperately trying to get his team into scoring range, but he ends up taking a sack. but at least Matt Prater was able to kick a field goal to give the team of jersey numbers a 3-point lead. 4th and 21. Josh Allen steps back and somehow connects with the receiver for the first down. But on the very next play, Josh Allen throws an interception to none other than Sauce Gardner. The team of jersey numbers went on to defeat the Bills and are now moving on to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson ended up winning NFL MVP, but we now take on the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. The game went back and forth early, but check out this insane catch by Austin Eckler, who fights his way into the end zone. The team of jersey numbers ended up scoring again and now have a 21-7 lead heading into the second half. They were then able to get down the field, and for some reason, Tyreek Hill was left uncovered and easily scores a touchdown. Even though the Cowboys cut the lead in half, the team of jersey numbers went down the field and scored another touchdown to put the game out of reach, and the team of jersey numbers ended up winning the Super Bowl over the Dallas Cowboys. And if you enjoyed this video, you should definitely go check out where I used one birth year from every NFL team. We'll see if they win a Super Bowl. Right over here. Check it out.